In family court, they say the truth always comes out. But sometimes, the truth doesn't need to be found. Sometimes it leaves itself on your voicemail. 67 times. This is the story of how one mother's rage became the evidence that changed everything. A story about harassment, desperation, and the moment a judge said enough is enough. It started like so many custody battles do, with two parents who once loved each other now fighting over the two people they loved most. Emma, 7 years old, with her mother's blonde hair and her father's bright blue eyes, and Noah, 5, who still believed his parents might get back together if he just wished hard enough. The divorce had been finalized 8 months earlier. The judge had ordered 50-50 custody. Every other week, the kids would switch homes. It was supposed to be simple. It was supposed to be fair. But Sarah Mitchell had other plans. Tom Mitchell thought the hard part was over. The lawyers, the mediation, the nights lying awake wondering if he'd ever see his kids again. It was all behind him. The custody order was signed. He had his kids half the time. He could breathe again. But on a Tuesday morning in March, his phone buzzed with the first message. "Tom, it's me. The kids are crying. They don't want to come to your house this weekend. I think we need to reconsider this arrangement. Call me back." Tom did call back. He suggested they talk to the kids together, reassured them that everything would be okay. Sarah hung up on him. That afternoon, another voicemail. "I can't believe you're putting the kids through this. Emma had a nightmare about your place. She says she feels unsafe there. You need to think about what you're doing to them." Tom felt the familiar knot in his stomach. This was exactly what his lawyer had warned them about. Document everything, his attorney had said. Every call, every text, every time she tries to manipulate the situation. So Tom started saving the voicemails. He didn't know yet that he'd need 67 of them. By the end of that first week, there were 12 voicemails, each one more urgent than the last. Sarah's voice getting higher, faster, more desperate. The kids are asking why you abandoned them. Noah wet the bed again. Emma said you yelled at her. When are you going to stop being so selfish? Tom's friends told him to change his number. His sister told him to block her. But his lawyer told him something different. Keep the phone on. Keep recording. Let her talk. The visitation exchange that Friday was tense. Sarah pulled up to the meeting spot 15 minutes late. The kids were quiet in the back seat. When Emma got out of the car, she wouldn't look at her father. "Hey, sweetheart," Tom said, kneeling down. "I missed you." Emma mumbled something and walked past him to his car. Noah followed, dragging his backpack. Sarah leaned out her window. "They're scared, Tom. Can't you see that? They're terrified of you." Tom looked at his ex-wife. He saw something in her eyes he'd never seen before. Not anger, not even hatred. Something worse. Satisfaction. The weekend went fine. The kids were quiet at first, but by Saturday afternoon, they were laughing again. They made pancakes for breakfast. They went to the park. Noah fell asleep during movie night with his head on his father's shoulder. Emma asked if they could get a dog. But on Sunday night, when Tom's phone buzzed, he knew what was coming. "You have ruined them. Emma is having a panic attack right now. She's hyperventilating because she has to go back to you next week. I don't know how you sleep at night." Monday brought 6 more voicemails. Tuesday brought 8. By Wednesday, Tom had stopped listening to them in real time. He'd just watched the notifications pile up, save them to a folder, and send them to his lawyer. His attorney, Jennifer Barnes, had seen this before. She'd been practicing family law for 15 years, and she knew parental alienation when she saw it. But knowing it and proving it were two different things. "We need a pattern," Jennifer told him. "We need to show this isn't just a concerned mother. This is harassment. This is manipulation. Keep recording." April turned into May. The voicemails kept coming, but they were changing. Sarah's voice was different now. Angrier. Meaner. She wasn't pretending to be concerned anymore. One message from late May stood out. Tom had saved it, but he could barely listen to it. "You're a pathetic excuse for a father, Tom. You don't deserve those kids. And one day, those kids are going to know who you really are, a liar who doesn't stand by his word. And one day, those kids are going to know what you did. One day, they're going to hate you for it." Tom's attorney listened to that voicemail 3 times. Then she made a decision. "We're filing an emergency motion. This has to stop." The emergency hearing was set for early June. Tom arrived at the courthouse with a thick folder of voicemail transcripts and audio files. 67 messages, over 3 hours of recordings, 4 months of harassment. Sarah arrived with her own lawyer and a story. She was just a concerned mother. Tom was alienating the children. The kids were scared. She was only trying to protect them. Judge Patricia Morrison had presided over family court for 23 years. She'd seen every lie, every manipulation tactic, every desperate parent trying to win. She developed what the other lawyers called her truth detector. She could spot a liar in the first 5 minutes. Tom's lawyer played 3 voicemails for the court. Just 3. The judge didn't need to hear all 67. The first one was from March. Sarah's voice was sweet, concerned. "The kids don't feel safe, Your Honor. I'm just trying to do what's best for them." The second was from April. Louder now, accusatory. "You're ruining these children, Tom. You're a selfish, terrible father." The third was from May, the one where Sarah's voice broke into rage, where she called him names, where she said his children would hate him. Judge Morrison leaned back in her chair. "Miss Mitchell," she said, looking directly at Sarah, "how many times would you estimate you've called Mr. Mitchell in the last 4 months?" Sarah shifted in her seat. "I don't know, Your Honor. Maybe a few times, when there were issues with the children?" The judge looked at Jennifer's attorney. "Miss Barnes." Jennifer stood. 67 voicemails, Your Honor. We have every single one recorded, timestamped, and transcribed. We also have documentation showing that Mr. Mitchell called Ms. Mitchell multiple times attempting to co-parent, and she either hung up or refused to engage in constructive conversation. The judge turned back to Sarah. 67 voicemails in 4 months? That's more than 4 times per week. Is that accurate? Sarah's lawyer jumped in. "Your Honor, my client was concerned about the children's welfare." The judge raised her hand. "I'm asking Miss Mitchell." Sarah nodded slowly. "Yes, but Your Honor, the children were—" The judge cut her off. "I've heard the voicemails, Miss Mitchell. I've read the transcripts. These are not the words of a concerned co-parent. These are threats. This is harassment. This is a systematic attempt to alienate these children from their father." "But they don't feel safe." Sarah tried again. "According to whom?" The judge's voice was sharp now. "According to you? Because I haven't seen any report from the children's therapist. I haven't seen any reports from their teachers. I haven't seen any evidence whatsoever that these children are in danger, except for your repeated assertions." The courtroom was silent. Judge Morrison continued. "What I have seen is a father who has followed every custody order to the letter, who has documented every interaction, who has attempted, repeatedly, to co-parent despite being subjected to verbal abuse and manipulation. And what I have seen is a mother who has made it her mission to destroy the relationship between these children and their father." Sarah was crying now. "But Your Honor—" "I'm not finished," the judge said. "I'm ordering an immediate custody evaluation. I'm appointing a guardian ad litem to represent the children's best interests. And until that evaluation is complete, I'm modifying the custody arrangement. Primary physical custody will go to Mr. Mitchell. Ms. Mitchell will have supervised visitation every other weekend." Sarah's lawyer stood up. "Your Honor, that's extreme." "No, counselor. What's extreme is 67 harassing voicemails. What's extreme is a parent who weaponizes her children's emotions to punish her ex-spouse. What's extreme is the emotional abuse these children have been subjected to." The judge looked directly at Sarah. "Ms. Mitchell, you have spent 4 months trying to convince your children that their father is dangerous. You have bombarded him with threats and accusations. You have violated every principle of co-parenting. And you have created exactly the unstable environment you claim to be protecting your children from."
The custody evaluator, Dr. Rebecca Chen, spent 6 weeks interviewing both parents, observing visitation, and talking to the children. Her report was damning. The evaluation documented everything. Emma's confusion about why she was supposed to be afraid of her father when nothing bad ever happened at his house. Noah's statement that, "Mammy says Daddy is mean, but Daddy gives me hugs." The way both children relaxed and opened up during visits with their father once Sarah's constant messaging stopped. Dr. Chen's conclusion was clear. The children have been subjected to a pattern of parental alienation. The mother has consistently attempted to undermine the father's relationship with the children through false allegations, excessive communication, and emotional manipulation. The children's best interests are served by reducing the alienating parent's influence and increasing time with the rejected parent. The guardian ad litem, an attorney named Michael Rodriguez who specialized in representing children, submitted his own report. He talked to the kids' teachers, their pediatrician, their neighbors. No one had ever seen any sign that Tom was anything but a loving, engaged father. The children need stability, he wrote. They need to know that both parents love them. Right now, one parent is teaching them to fear and reject the other parent. This is psychological abuse, and it needs to stop.
The final hearing was in August. Judge Morrison had read both reports. She'd reviewed the voicemails again. She'd seen the documentation of every exchange, every attempt at co-parenting, every time Sarah had tried to manipulate the situation. The judge's ruling was swift and decisive. Primary physical custody is awarded to the father, Thomas Mitchell. Miss Mitchell will have supervised visitation every other weekend until she completes a court-ordered co-parenting class and demonstrates her ability to support the children's relationship with their father. Therapy is ordered for both children and for Miss Mitchell individually. Any further harassment or attempts to alienate the children will result in a contempt charge and possible jail time. Sarah tried to interrupt. "Your Honor, please." "Miss Mitchell," Judge Morrison said, her voice firm but not unkind, "your children love you, but they also love their father, and they deserve to love both of their parents without being made to feel guilty about it. You have spent months trying to take their father away from them. Now you need to spend the next months learning how to give him back." 2 years later, Emma is 9 and Noah is 7. They still split time between their parents, but it's different now. Sarah completed her classes, she went to therapy. Slowly, with the help of a family counselor, she learned how to co-parent without attacking Tom at every turn. The supervised visits eventually became unsupervised. Sarah earns back more time with her kids, but the primary custody stayed with Tom. The judge had seen enough to know that the children needed stability, and Tom could provide that. Emma and Noah are thriving. They do well in school, they play sports, they have friends, and most importantly, they know that both of their parents love them, even if those parents can't love each other. Tom still has all 67 voicemails saved. He hasn't listened to them in a long time, but he keeps them, just in case. A reminder of what can happen when anger overtakes common sense. When a parent forgets that custody isn't about winning, it's about what's best for the children. And Sarah, she's learned a hard lesson. That the words you say in anger don't disappear. That voicemail is forever. And that in family court, the truth really does come out. Sometimes it just leaves itself on voicemail. What we learned from this case: document everything. Tom's decision to save every voicemail was crucial. Without that documentation, it would have been a he said, she said situation. Patterns matter. One angry voicemail might be excused. 67 over 4 months shows a clear pattern of harassment and alienation. Courts recognize parental alienation. Judges are trained to spot attempts to turn children against the other parent. It's taken seriously. Communication is evidence. Everything you say, text, email, or leave on voicemail can be used in court. Always communicate as if a judge is listening. Best interest standard. Courts care about what's best for the children, not what's fair to the parents. Sarah's behavior showed she was prioritizing her feelings over her kids' well-being. Supervised visitation is serious. It's not a permanent loss of custody, but it's a strong message that a parent needs to change their behavior. Therapy and classes work. The system isn't just punitive. It provides resources to help parents learn better co-parenting skills. This has been True Court Story. Remember, every family law case is different. The outcome depends on the specific facts, the jurisdiction, and the judge. But the principles remain the same. Respect the court, follow the orders, and always put your children first. If you're in a custody dispute, document your interactions, communicate respectfully, and let your attorney guide you through the process. And never, ever leave 67 angry voicemails. See you next time.